After 15 years of marriage, my wife admitted feeling trapped, then I found out about her secret getaway with her affair partner. I, 34 male, have been married to Nina, 35 female, for 15 years, and we've been together for 20 years total. We have 2 children, Kay 13 female and Noah, 11 male, who we adore and work hard to provide the best life for. For the past few years, our marriage has been rocky and I've been struggling to understand why. Nina and I met in high school when we were both 14. It was during a school play I was working on the set design and she was part of the tech crew. We bonded over our shared love of theater and spent countless hours working on school productions together. We started dating a few months later and quickly became inseparable. Our families had very different reactions to our relationship. My parents were supportive, seeing Nina as a good influence. She was studious and respectful, and they appreciated how she encouraged me to focus on my studies. Nina's parents, on the other hand, were more skeptical. They worried we were too young and that our relationship would distract us from our goals. Despite the concerns of Nina's parents, we stayed together throughout high school. We had our fair share of teenage drama, petty fights, jealousies, and misunderstandings, but we always found our way back to each other. By the time we graduated, we were convinced we were meant to be together forever. We got married young at 19, right after our first year of college. Looking back, I realized how naive we were. We thought love would conquer all, that we could handle anything life threw at us as long as we were together. Nina's parents were not happy about our decision, but my parents helped us plan a small intimate wedding in our backyard. The first year of marriage was a whirlwind. We were both full-time students working part-time jobs to make ends meet. We lived in a tiny studio apartment near campus, surviving on ramen noodles and dreams of a better future. Despite the challenges, we were happy. We'd stay up late studying together, dreaming about our future home, our careers, and the family we wanted to build. Then, just before our second wedding anniversary, I found out she was pregnant with Kay. It wasn't planned and we were terrified. We were still in college, barely able to support ourselves, let alone a baby. But after the initial shock wore off, we became excited about the prospect of becoming parents. I had to take a semester off when Kay was born, but Nina doubled down on her studies, determined to graduate on time. Her parents, who had been distant since our wedding, stepped up to help with childcare so I could return to school. It was a challenging time, but it brought us closer as a couple and helped heal the rift with Nina's family. 2 years after Kay was born, Noah came along. This time, we were a bit more prepared, but it was still overwhelming. I had just started my first job out of college, and Nina was climbing the corporate ladder in an IT firm. We were constantly exhausted, juggling 2 young children, full-time jobs, and trying to maintain our relationship. The early years of parenting were tough. We struggled financially, often relying on help from our parents. There were nights when we'd argue about money, about whose turn it was to do the night feedings, about the division of household chores, but we always managed to work through our issues, reminding ourselves that we were in this together. As the years went by, things improved financially. Nina got a great job in IT, and I started my own small business from home, an online craft store that allowed me to be there for the kids after school. We were finally able to buy a house in a good school district and provide a stable life for our children. However, as our financial situation improved, our relationship began to suffer. We were so focused on our careers and the kids that we started to neglect our marriage. Date nights became a thing of the past, replaced by work meetings and children's activities. Physical intimacy dwindled. And when it did happen, it felt more like a chore than an expression of love. For the past 3 years, things have been particularly difficult. We've had very little intimacy and hardly any sex. I've tried to talk to Nina about it, but she always brushes it off, saying she's tired from work or stressed about other things. I've suggested date nights, couples activities, even a weekend getaway, but she never seems interested. I've watched as Nina has become more and more distant. She spends more time at work, often coming home late and immediately burying herself in her laptop. When she is home, she's distracted, constantly checking her phone or zoning out in front of the TV. It's like she's physically present, but emotionally absent. This past year has been the worst. We barely talk anymore, except about the kids or household matters. It feels like we're just roommates sharing a house and co-parenting our children. The atmosphere at home has become tense and gloomy. I've cried myself to sleep many nights, wondering what went wrong and how we got to this point. I've tried to rekindle the spark in our marriage. I've dressed up for dinner, tried to engage her in conversations about topics she used to love, even surprised her with tickets to see her favorite band, but nothing seems to work. It's like she's looking right through me, not really seeing me anymore. Last week, I finally confronted Nina about the state of our marriage. I was hoping for a heart-to-heart conversation where we could address our issues and work on rebuilding our relationship. Instead, what I heard shattered my world. Nina told me she no longer feels in love with me. She said she loves me as a friend and the father of her children, but she doesn't have romantic feelings for me anymore. She admitted she's been feeling this way for a while, but didn't know how to tell me. She said she only sees me as her best friend, and that's why she hasn't been interested in intimacy or sex.